We played yesterday James O'Keefe's excellent expose of an executive at Pfizer confiding in someone that he thought he was on a romantic date with, that don't tell the public, but Pfizer is secretly performing gain-of-function research to beef up viruses to work on new pharmaceuticals. And the date says, what? Pfizer's working on gain-of-function research? And the exec says, yeah, I mean, we don't tell the public that, but we are working on that. And then, just yesterday, James O'Keefe releases the footage of when he walks out like Chris Hansen, comes in, sits down, he says, hey, I think I'm gonna have a seat over here. Do you work for Pfizer? We've got you on camera admitting to, and things go awry.
Hey there, is this seat taken? You work for Pfizer. My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID viruses?
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd.
Please don't touch me. Well, this is not, by the way, don't tell anybody.
Someone who's just working at a company to literally help the public. You f***ed up. You really did. Please bring the cops as soon as possible. I'm really very unsafe.
Can you please unlock your door?
No, don't let them leave.
Please unlock the door.
What is going on here?
Please unlock the door. Please unlock the door. Unlock the door. We're trying to unlock the door. Unlock the door.
That is the director of worldwide R&D, specifically on mRNA strategic planning. Those are the people who are behind the Fauci ouchie that has now gone into the arms of 5.5 billion people worldwide. This lunatic who's out on what he thinks is this date, and then he just loses it, starts getting violent, running around. Oh my gosh, is this real life? Oh my gosh. And then what's his excuse? This is my favorite part. The minute James O'Keefe says, hey, we just got you on camera admitting that Pfizer's doing gain-of-function research, he goes, I'm a liar. That's his excuse. I'm a liar. I was lying. And that's always what these guys do. This was just a modern day version of To Catch a Predator, the Chris Hansen show that would get pedophiles. This is just that, hey, what are you doing here? Why don't you have a seat over there? What are you doing here? And instantly, what happens? All the time, the guys on the To Catch a Predator show who want to sleep with underage girls, they say, oh, I wasn't doing anything. No, I didn't come here to have sex. No, not at all. I was just lying in the chat. Oh no, all those logs you have of me talking to this girl about how I was going to come over and drive 12 hours and sleep with, I was just lying. It's the same excuse from the Pfizer exec. No, I was just lying. Well, the problem with that excuse is, if you are a liar, if your best defense is that you are a liar, then obviously I can't believe you now. And it's not just this Pfizer exec. This was Fauci's excuse. Do you remember? Fauci initially said, when COVID broke out, and the liberals at that time were downplaying it before they started overplaying it, Fauci said, there's no reason to wear a mask. There is no reason when the virus is spreading around for you to wear a mask out in public. Do not wear a mask. And then 5 seconds later, he says, you have to wear a mask everywhere all the time. Wear like 3 of them. What changed? Fauci admitted how he changed his mind. Or changed his rhetoric, because he didn't change his mind. He said, oh yeah, when I told you didn't need to wear a mask, I thought there'd be a shortage and I wanted to save them for my friends. But then I found out there wasn't a shortage, so I told you to wear them. So Fauci's excuse was the same excuse as the Pfizer exec, was the same excuse as the pedos on To Catch a Predator. I'm a liar. I'm a liar, don't believe anything we say. Okay. All right, guys. If that's what you want, I'll take your word for it. I have no doubt that you guys are big liars. Speaking of virality and social media, big news. I meant to get to it yesterday. We didn't have time. President Covfefe, El Donaldo himself, is back on Facebook. Meta, which is the parent company now for Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of it, they've announced, quote, we are bringing Mr. Trump back in the coming weeks with certain guardrails applicable to any public figures suspended for certain violations during times of civil unrest. The penalties and potential restrictions that we've put in place are a deterrent, and Trump could face another suspension if he keeps breaking the rules. Why are they letting Trump back? It's been years at this point. It's been 2 years. Why does he get to come back now? Elon put him back on Twitter, even though Trump isn't using his Twitter yet, probably because he has contractual obligations with Truth Social. But Elon put him back on, so maybe that puts a little pressure on Facebook. Trump is now a declared candidate for the presidency. I think that probably puts a little pressure on Facebook. But probably the biggest factor here is that the January 6th narrative fell apart. The reason that Trump was banned from social media, the reason that these oligarchs in Silicon Valley who work with but not totally through the government, they're this awful, blobby, public-private kind of partnership that does the bidding of the government's dirty work that they can't do for itself, but also is completely unaccountable to the people. The whole argument for banning Trump was that this guy led a violent insurrection, a near coup d'etat on January 6th. And that didn't happen. We know, because we've had 2 years of investigations into this, they told us Trump incited the insurrection. Well, we have the video. Trump says, be peaceful, don't be violent, go home. Okay, there goes that one. Well, nevertheless, the followers of Donald Trump, they were so violent, they killed people. They killed police officers. That's not true. The only person who was killed in political violence on January 6th was Ashley Babbitt. She was a Trump supporter in the Capitol, shot by a trigger-happy cop. Well, what about Officer Brian Sicknick? Officer Brian Sicknick died of natural causes after the January 6th riot. He did not die in any violence on January 6th, nor did any other cop. Well, they nevertheless, even if they didn't kill anybody, even if they weren't particularly violent, even if Donald Trump never incited anything, they were still leading an insurrection. Okay, then how come none of them were charged with insurrection? How come they were charged with trespassing? I mean, the prosecutors threw the book at these people. They threw them in solitary confinement for long periods of time. But they couldn't get a charge of insurrection because it didn't happen. So the whole thing just fell apart. The whole thing fell apart. So now they let Trump back on. I think there is one ulterior motive here, beyond that the libs couldn't quite withstand the pressure of still with a straight face saying that Trump couldn't be on Facebook. I think the other ulterior motive is the libs want a bloody GOP primary. And the thinking, back when they were trying to keep Trump off the ballot in certain places, back when they were trying to throw Trump in prison, I guess they're still trying to do that, back when they were keeping him totally ostracized from social media, the prevailing view was that Donald Trump, if he ran for president in 2024, would clear the Republican field. So there would be no challengers. He would be the nominee automatically. And so the libs were throwing everything they had at him. That no longer appears to be the case. Ron DeSantis, among others, seems to be building a pretty strong campaign for president. It's still Trump's race to lose. Trump is still way up in the polls, but DeSantis is posing a real challenge to Trump right now. Other people are saying they'll run too. Mike Pence is saying he's very interested in running. Nikki Haley says she's very interested in running. Tim Scott says he's very interested in running. So it just, no matter what you think of those people or Trump did not clear the field. And so now the Lib strategy has to switch, and they're going to want a more bloody GOP primary, which means they're probably going to be much more interested in allowing Donald Trump to be on platforms such as Facebook. In fact, you saw a similar principle just a couple of days ago with the Azov battalion in Ukraine. For years, the Azov battalion, which is filled with neo-Nazis in Ukraine, was banned from Facebook. Why? Because it's filled with neo-Nazis. But now, Facebook is on the side of Ukraine fighting against Russia. And so the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and the Azov battalion is one of the most powerful regiments in the Ukrainian military. And so Facebook says, okay, never mind, they're not Nazis anymore, or even if they are, they're like the good Nazis. Okay, we're going to let them back on Facebook. The rest of the show continues now. We've got a lot. It's Fake Headline Friday. I need your help in sussing out which are the 4 real headlines, which is the fake headline. And also, a buddy of mine is coming on the show very briefly to talk about his new movie that's coming out, because Greg Perot is the star of the new Left Behind movie. And Greg Perot, he's got a lot of great credits. So I'll wait until the member block, but head on over. The movie premieres this weekend. It's going to be a huge smash. If you're not a member already, go to dailywire.com/Knowles. Use code Knowles, Knowles at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.